Hey, and welcome to Code Reviews. In today's episode, we are going to take our fully functional web app that we've been going over in previous videos, and we are going to add an admin panel. So we've always had the ability to add an admin role or a user role or a free user role, but now when we log in using our Google SSO, I've added an option to add an admin role. So this gives me the admin role, and you see immediately the front end has changed. Your landing page has an admin panel where you can delete a user that you create, and there's an admin dashboard, and this is a fully fledged route. So it has its own URL. It's similar. You get to all of the fake users. When you remove the admin role, all of a sudden that route is gone. The admin console is gone. You're back to normal. So here I'm giving you and I'm demonstrating exactly how to create an admin view given you have that role. So let's go through the code. So we're going to add an admin panel and modify the admin roles dynamically, altering the front end. We'll go over backend code to grant and remove the admin roles in our Spring security using Spring. We will extend the front end to handle admin users, and then we're going to refactor the front end UI so that you have actual routes, and the parts you want to be static are static, and the parts you want to be dynamic are dynamic. So the easiest part is the back end. Spring is super easy. You'll go into the user controller, and we'll go to the user controller, and we're going to add an endpoint called toggle admin status. This is a post request. It takes an authenticated user. You have to be a free user to use it. Assuming you're a free user, it'll pull you from your authentication token from your Google JWT, and it's just going to call the user service toggle admin status. This does what it says it does. It toggles your admin status. So it uses the username, and it finds a valid user entity to add or remove the admin role. And if it's successful, it will return the authenticated user projection for the front end to consume. Otherwise, it'll be empty. Very simple implementation. We use the find by username and enabled as true to find valid users. We then find the admin role entity that we want to apply to the user or remove using just the find by name and the role admin enum. And then we simply check, does the valid user contain the admin role? If they already have the admin role, then we'll remove it. If they don't have the admin role, we will add it. We will persist that user, and then we will query the repository for that user's information using that same username. So we've updated their roles. We've then queried the database again, our Postgres database, and we've returned the username. That's all we really need to do, and that's all we did on the back end to enhance it, to have that endpoint and do kind of the back end controls. So then we go to the front end, and we have to kind of wire in the back end to the front end. So in the front end, we obviously have to update our environment properties, and we have to add the path. So the user's admin toggle path is there. And then in the user core service, Angular services, is where we create the toggle admin status service. So this will return an observable backend authenticated user projection, and you can recall that this has all the user information we need, and the pertinent stuff that we need is admin and is not admin. So we'll know if the user is an admin or not based off of the information that comes back. We call a simple post, don't have to pass any parameters because our JSON web token is in the interceptor, and it's already being passed to Spring, and Spring's using our JSON web token to find which user we are. And then we run an update current user based on the response. And if it's an error, then we just reset the user and we think something's wrong and everything kind of resets. But that's all you have to do in terms of, connecting Angular to our new endpoint. So then we created an admin dashboard component. So this is an entirely new component, but it's very simple. It's but simple. We just imported the view users component that we already had and the app delete users button that we already had. And this is the sweet thing about Angular and React and Vue and these component-based design is that once you create it, you can just inject it, and then we have a little bit of Tailwind CSS to make it look normal. But then even in the admin dashboard, business stuff, or the business logic, there is none. It's just a view. It's just a dashboard. We've imported the delete user button and the view users component. So these components are both here, and it's all good. So we need to get there, but it's an admin dashboard, and we don't want non-admins to see it. So what we need to do in Angular is use these CanActivate guards. And these guards are very simple, but in the new Angular 15 and plus, you have these CanActivate functions where you pass in the route, which is the activated route snapshot, and the state, which is the router state snapshot. We inject the router service automatically, and we inject our core service, which has a current user observable. So when you have this CanActivate function, you basically just have to return, a true or false. Can this person use it or not? And you have to figure out what you're going to base that off of. For us, we already have the user observable, so we map that user and we pull out the isAdmin boolean. And then if the isAdmin boolean is true, we return it, and if this is false, we just reroute to the home page. So we can pass in a create URL tree, and here we're just saying if they're not an admin and they try to go here, just send them back home. And you can see this happen when you put in the admin dashboard. Nothing happens, it just redirects home. And when you add the admin role and you go to the admin dashboard, if you remove the admin role, it kicks you back, which is a really nice feature. So we created these admin CanActivate functions, and we actually created one also for authenticated. And then in the app.routes, this is where we created a path, the admin dashboard. We linked that path to the component that we created, and then we added the CanActivate guard. And this is all we needed to do because in the app config, we are importing the routes, provide router. We're just loading the routes here. So we've added another indice to this routes array, and that's how we got it running. We did a few other kind of fancy things, just using conditionals, but you can see that it says add admin role because we don't have it. And once you click it, it updates to remove. The whole UI updates. This is how we've kind of refactored the front end. So the big thing that we did was that we wanted the nav bar to be locked. So we wanted this to stay locked and this Peter's dashboard to stay locked, but we wanted the front to change. And this wasn't how it was set up before. So if you look at, let me clear some of these pages. If you look at like the app.html, so we have a footer that's fixed that you always see. And then I changed what we had here, which was like the router mapping, the router, to just app core layout. So I created this core layout component. And this core layout component is what holds the landing page when the user is not authenticated. And it has the authenticated dashboard nav bar when the user is authenticated. But in the main section is this router outlet. And this is where components are injected based on the route when they're loaded. So basically I have core layout, which gets loaded, which is this, and also this is core layout. But when you log in, this center part is what maps to the router outlet. And so when you add the admin role and you switch the dashboard, this router outlet updates and it loads the component based on the route. So we did that kind of refactoring, which was pretty nice. This doesn't highlight, but probably should. No big deal there. And yeah, we kind of just simplified the authentication dashboard. So the authentication dashboard used to have a bunch of junk in it, but now it just has, CSS, so the view users, the create user button. It's just loading components, what we would want to do, using a little bit of styling with Tailwind. So yeah, as always, this is also running live. So you can go to the demo.pglindustries.com. You can play around with it live. You can add the admin role and work with our real database in AWS if you want. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Like, subscribe for more, and appreciate it.